Hit it. We on?
Yep.
Hello, people.
Hello.
Tell them, buddy. Tell them. Say thanks.
Thanks.
Hello.
I'm thankful for being alive right now.
Fair enough.
Good.
That's definitely awesome. We
Anything
are.
else you're thankful for?
I'm thankful for parents, too.
That's a good one.
Thankful's good. Being grateful.
Yes.
It's awesome. It's the way of life.
It's awkward. Yeah, but how come I can't see? Oh, that's what I'm missing. I forgot what I was doing.
So we're sitting out front. We're trying something different. We're getting crazy. We are fighting the mosquitoes, fighting the mug, and we're just giving it a shot to see what happens. Because we love you, buddy.
Bye.
We wanted to do
Bye.
something different.
Your
Change
dinner's on
it
the
up.
counter. Make sure you eat it.
Change it up.
You guys like our backdrop here?
It's a pretty backdrop. I think it's pretty.
That's
She literally just walked in the door like 2 minutes ago from picking up Noah
Ryan
from
Boyette.
Next Gen. Ryan, trying to make me
Alicia,
cry earlier.
Tanya.
Thank you.
Mike
Tuning in.
Sorrentino. You
Love
guys
it.
like our backdrop?
She's wanting you to engage.
Yes, we're trying
Please
the outdoors.
write on there that you like it or you don't like it.
And can you hear us okay?
Yeah, please let us know that because we got the cameras a little bit farther away and there's like 20 bugs making noise out here, so it's hard to hear myself. Can you guys hear us okay? Anybody say anything?
Tanya likes our backdrop. What about the volume? Is the volume good? We just want to make sure so we're not
So I
doing
can always
this
move
whole
the
thing.
camera
Yeah,
closer
we can make adjustments.
because the bugs out here are really loud.
Oh, you and the crickets. Okay, you can hear the crickets or
Awesome.
locusts, whatever they are. We were
They're
wondering.
loud.
Yeah, at least
Anyways.
the dog is not barking. Not our dog, but the neighbor's dog.
Just wait a little bit if you hear
Wow.
him. He's like a hound dog, and he just saddest thing you ever heard. That's awesome. How you guys doing this week? Hopefully well. We've had some stuff going on today that's rocked our world, but we are still winners. Amen. As my wife told me earlier, it was just circumstance. It's big circumstance. Our driveway literally fell apart. My truck fell down in the driveway as I was going down it. And apparently there is a river going underneath our driveway that's been washing out the dirt for several years. And so it finally caved in. And needless to say, it's not a good time to have that happen. But we still win.
It's perspective. In the big scheme of things, it's okay. Our driveway broke.
Yeah, we can't drive up and down it. we have to park down the bottom of the hill and walk.
We'll just laugh about it. It's a little bit of comedy.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't rain too much. Yeah, she'll be laughing then when she's walking in the rain, I tell you. That's good stuff. Anyways, we're glad you guys tuned in. We appreciate it. It really encourages us that you guys jump on live. Obviously, we love the replays and people being able to share them out. So hit some hearts, hit some likes. Just go ahead and hit the share button right now. Get it out there so we can help as many people as possible. We're talking about boundaries today, which is a huge topic. Lots of people don't think that it's a big deal. And man, it is a really big deal to have boundaries and to be comfortable setting them for yourself and for others. You know, we always want to be kind and, you know, do unto others as you want them to do to you and all of these amazing things that are beautiful. But at the end of the day, if you're not kind to yourself first, if you don't love yourself first, then you're not able to be fully engaged and fully kind and fully loved for everybody else because you haven't loved yourself enough to be able to set some healthy boundaries in every area with your wife or your spouse or partner, husband, at work, with your bosses, with coworkers, with neighbors, with your kids, with your friends, with your, you know, family, blood family. Boundaries, they get set in all those different spots. If you love yourself, you see that mosquito? If you love yourself, that's what you'll do is set boundaries and be okay with it. What you got? What you got? I know you got some good stuff.
You're so funny.
I am funny.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
I thought it was good. Tanya said she set a good boundary today with a coworker that was, I think, waiting till the last minute to want to stay
job.
late. Yeah, and then asking her for a ride. And so she set the boundary and told the person no. And I thought, man, that was so good, especially from somebody who just genuinely is kind and wants to go out of their way all the time to do things to help other people. You know, even if you can, sometimes, you know, that's worse. Like when you know that you can, but you just, it's okay to say no, even if you can't.
Yeah. No is
Still
an
don't
okay
have
word.
to. Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah.
It's okay. Doesn't mean you don't love them. Doesn't mean you're not there for them. It just means you also love yourself. And so many times we self-sabotage because we don't love ourselves. So that's basically what today's about.
Yeah, so she
Boundaries.
said she felt great, and that was good. I
Awesome.
was proud of her, yeah, because we have the opportunity all the time, right? All day long with people and our kids and
Yes,
immediate family, husband, wife, children,
for sure.
dogs.
Ooh, I wish we could set different boundaries with the dog.
People all the time. I thought this was a good quote. Danny Silk says this a lot. We are always teaching people how to treat us.
Yes.
You should write that down somewhere, put it in your phone or whatever. We are always teaching people how to treat us. I think that's a good way to just always remember our responsibility in it, because a lot of times we can get into the blame game because we are not setting a boundary in our life. It's really not necessarily their fault because we are teaching them how to treat us. So
Yep.
if we don't like how they're treating us, then that's a flag to us to say, oh, we're not clearly communicating our boundaries with them.
Mm-hmm.
And really all your boundaries are is a reflection of your core beliefs about yourself and values that you have about yourself.
Yes.
And maybe you've never sat down and thought about what those core beliefs are. Maybe you've been taken advantage of since you were a child in relationships. Maybe your parents didn't have any boundaries. They were constantly disrespected, whether it was father or mother in their relationships. So you really never saw what healthy boundaries look like, and people always invaded your boundaries. Therefore, you didn't feel like you had permission to ever even set any boundaries. So now as an adult, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, like I'm valuable, and things that are valuable have security around it, has boundaries around
A
it.
border,
The
a boundary.
more valuable something is, the more security or boundaries
I hope
is
you're
around
tracking
it,
with
like
her.
a famous painting or a
A gem or
diamonds.
diamond.
Yeah, there's more and more security around it. So when we believe that we are truly valuable and have good self-esteem, then we're going to have those boundaries in our life.
Yes.
So it's a good thing to write down and discover what those things, what the non-negotiables is what I like to call it, are in our life, in our relationships.
Yes.
And so people are
Non-negotiables.
disrespecting you, then go, oh, okay, I need to communicate better what my boundary is here.
Yes, because you continually being disrespected, you know, that's not good. And when you continually allow it, is because you're not being kind to yourself, so you're allowing other people to disrespect you. And if you put up a boundary, politely and communicate it. You know, when we were going through our deal, just literally walking through hell, and I was verbally abusive and called her names just randomly if things didn't go my way. You know, she was trying to get me to step up, and I thought that she was, you know, boxing me in and pressuring me and trying to control me. She was just trying to get me to step up into who I really was. But I would be disrespectful because I knew she was right. And so she would come over and be like, okay, this is what's going to happen. If you call me a name one time, just once, here's the boundary. I will be leaving and I will not be coming back tonight. And sure enough, the first time she came over and we got into an argument, and I called her a name, and she packed up her stuff and grabbed her purse and walked out. Didn't say a word.
Or even
She
at
just-
dinner at a restaurant.
She operated in the boundary that she set. So she was loving herself enough to not be disrespected. And me on the other side of the boundary is learning that, oh, she values herself. And if I want to be around her, then I need to listen and operate in the boundaries. She wasn't controlling me. She was setting a boundary because she loved herself. You see how that works? It's simple in concept. It's much harder to do because we always think when you set a boundary that you're now being judgmental or mean. But really, it's the exact opposite. You're loving yourself enough to say, hey, this isn't good for me. So you set up a boundary. And if they want to be together or around, then they'll do it right. Friends, family, anybody, set it up.
Yeah, and I think some people get in a routine in a relationship and they feel like, oh, well, it's already been this way for this long.
Right.
Like, who am I to all of a sudden start saying it's going to be different? But I mean, I just want to give you permission right now,
Fair
really,
enough.
to, it's okay. You know, we're all on a journey and we're all growing, hopefully. And to give yourself
That's the goal.
permission, it's personal growth, that how you saw yourself maybe a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago,
2 months ago.
2 months ago, last week, is different than how you see yourself today. Hopefully you're continually learning what your value is. And as you learn that and are discovering your core beliefs, it's okay to say, you know what, I know that we've been
Yep.
operating this way and I've been allowing this to happen, but I'm no longer accepting that kind of behavior in my presence.
Yeah.
To be talked to that way or to use that tone of voice isn't acceptable. For you to just walk in and out of my house, of course it depends on the relationship. I'm trying to pull different scenarios from different types of relationships, even with your kids, having boundaries with your kids. You know, we get so irritated with them, but really the bottom line is it's because we are not being clear on our boundary. And even if you say, hey, I set boundaries all the time, but do you follow through?
Do you honor them?
Just like he was saying, you know, I could have set that boundary with him that, hey, we're not going to do name calling anymore. As soon as you call me a name, then I'm out of here. But then when he did it,
You have to follow through. You
the
have to
follow
honor it.
through, that's like the next thing. Like, it's one thing to make a stand for yourself, stand in your value,
Yeah.
and say it. It's another thing to actually follow through, because if there's no follow through, then just forget about it.
Yes.
Don't even bother. You know, you're just setting yourself up. And of course, there won't be any respect there
Yep.
because you're not going to follow through on anything. So that's the hard part. But a lot of times we don't want to follow through on things because of the rejection that can come.
And the pain and the words that come along with it. Especially when you first start setting it up and it's been this way for a long time. There's a little bit of a
And if you suffer,
rough edge.
from
it's a rough edge.
rejection issues and, you know, or they start throwing a temper tantrum because now all of a sudden you're setting a boundary, but really the only people that are upset about your boundaries are the people that are not benefiting anymore
Yes.
from your lack of boundaries.
And again, it comes down to loving yourself. So, you know, we love others, but we have to love ourselves first. And that's the key here with setting boundaries. We didn't think this through,
Tommy
baby.
said follow through with that fork.
Yes.
That's funny.
Yes.
Yes.
We didn't think this through. It's getting muggy and the bugs are everywhere.
It's fine. What are you talking about?
It's fine
Look,
for
it looks
you.
fine.
Aw, I look so great.
Kind of reminded me of Kenneth and Gloria out there at that Arkansas.
Oh, snap. It's awesome.
They're outside.
At their house.
Some examples of boundaries is just saying no. Obviously, that's simple.
No's okay.
Not offering to fix other people's problems. For whatever reason, we can get in there and think it's our responsibility to fix everybody's problems,
We try to be everybody's savior.
which I enjoy helping people. I enjoy
Totally.
helping people with their problems, but there's a difference, you know, and helping people see and discover and, you know, find out things in their own life and how they can bring action to it. And when you, what do we always say? We can't do it for you. We can't
Yeah, we can't want it more than
we
you.
can't want it more than
than
you.
you.
You know, when you're invested in the person's situation more than they are, then you know you're not having good boundaries.
Yes.
And so it's time to reevaluate how much time and money you spend with the person, give to the person. You know, it's just being led from the inside. Your privacy, maybe your privacy, you don't have enough boundaries around those areas, whatever that looks like for you. And there's no like really rule, like it's the
Yeah.
same for everybody. You know, one
It's
person, certain things aren't going to be, like I'm a really private person, so I have a lot of boundaries around that privacy, whereas, you know, Phil doesn't as much, and that's
And
okay.
we talk about it
yeah,
all
and
the
we
time.
laugh at each other.
Yes.
And, you know,
Uh,
when he tries to force me to not have the boundaries on the privacy, I just remind him that we're different people. And vice versa. You know, he reminds me he's not me, and that's okay. So, again, write down and figure out what are the non-negotiables for you. And, oh, you had the good one about boundaries for yourself.
yeah.
I thought that was really good. We always think of boundaries as being for other people and about other people.
Which
and then
they are, but still loving yourself first is the key. And you know, if you're struggling with things or dealing with things or have been in certain areas, you know, set a boundary for yourself that, hey, if I hang out with these people, then I always end up doing this and I don't want to do this. So you have to set up a boundary from hanging out with those people. Doesn't mean you don't love them, doesn't mean you don't like them, doesn't mean any of that.
or that you're judging them. It's not about them. The
It's not about
boundary
them.
is for you and your freedom, your wholeness, your
Because
self-care.
you love yourself.
It's about you.
Because you love yourself. So if you go to a certain area or if you travel to a certain part of town and all of a sudden you start having these feelings and these emotions and you go do dumb stuff, set a boundary with yourself that I'm not going to go to that part of town. Even if you have to detour around it. You know, do that until you've risen above it, and then it's not a big deal. Doing it with family and friends, with certain coworkers, whatever it is you have to do, if you get around somebody or in a situation and you feel a way that you don't necessarily want to be, then love yourself enough to set a boundary to not go there for a while until you rise above it, and then it's back in action and you don't feel that way. But you know, we just got to know ourselves
Yeah,
and be
like
able to tell ourselves no like we can tell somebody else no.
going to the gym. That's a boundary that we have, that we try to constantly
Yeah.
put in motion on our health. Or boundaries forever. I know you guys can totally agree with this. On your phone, like, hello. We're always talking about it because
Yes.
it's like real, right? The boundary with the phone. Good Lord.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Like for us, I put it down when I get home. Most of the time, we never have it at the table while we're eating and we're having family time. You know, we just try to have a boundary with it. We call it putting the phone in jail. We set it over someplace. I have my phone number on restricted because I don't want people to be able to call me. I have a boundary with my cell phone.
Yeah, and people will try to bully your boundaries, right? Ooh, that's
Yeah.
a good word. Bully
the boundary.
Ooh,
You
I
feel that
am
bug?
getting a bug. Oh, sorry.
Bugs.
We're like,
We love you so much. We're out here getting eaten up by the bugs.
But we-
trying to bring you value, I tell you. Trying
Yeah.
to set you free, I
people
tell
will
you.
bully your boundaries. Like, people give him a hard time about why he doesn't put his phone number
What
out
kind of
there for
pastor are you?
everybody. But it's okay because it's not about you. It's
Oh,
like
man.
your own boundary of what works for you, what's good for you, what you need to do, and just stand in that.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's okay. And you don't even have to give people explanations.
I do, though, but I don't have
Yeah,
to.
he does. He
I
does a
do.
lot. I'm like, you don't have to tell people why. It's like, yeah, but
I just want them to understand
Yeah.
that, you know, I'm accessible 100 different ways. My personal cell phone number is the one thing that's not accessible. Even though Instagram comes to my phone, Facebook comes to my phone, Messenger comes to my phone, email comes to my phone, but man, something about just calling me or texting me, I don't vibe there. So that's the boundary that we have with it.
and like a boundary, say, with your kids. I'm trying to pull different ones. If you guys have certain ones that you struggle with and you have a specific question, you could ask on here. Like,
Maybe we'll see.
yeah, if we have the answer
So
or think
bright
we
out
have the
here.
answer. but we'd be happy to answer that specific situation if we can. But even with your kids, like, throwing the temper tantrums around you, it's how people behave around you as well. Like, acting like a complete fool around you is just, like, not acceptable. You need to go to your own space.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a fun zone.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
the fun
boundary.
zone.
Fun zone, boundary. We have a no cry zone. That's a boundary. No cry zone. It's totally fine to cry. It's part of life, but just not right here. This is the fun zone. It's a no cry zone.
Yeah, John's
So-
good at implementing the no cry zone.
Yeah, so
Yep.
go to your room or go over in the corner or just go into the dining room or something. Get it all out. Process and flow through the emotion. Then come back into the fun zone. And
Yeah,
that's not you
or-
being mean.
Talking to
Boundary.
you disrespectfully, say, I'm more than happy to have this conversation with you when you're willing to have it with me respectfully.
Yes.
So,
And everything is
Yeah.
done in a calm,
yes.
totally peaceful conversation. It's not, well, you're going to have this conversation when you're not disrespectful. So now you're being disrespectful to them, and it's not any better. So you just calmly say it, and lots of boundaries that you're starting fresh and new, you'll have to set them 100 times before they're honored. But keep setting them, don't let it slide.
Yeah.
And like for us, we deal with a lot of people that have addictions and all kinds of different things. And simple boundaries of, hey, if we're gonna go out and hang out tonight, you need to either not drink or not be high, whatever your boundary might be, and just set the boundary. We're all trying to come up. So set the boundary, stand in your value, that you're valuable, and if you're gonna be around me, you're not gonna become a drunken fool and embarrass me tonight like you have 800 other times. We're not gonna do that tonight. And that
if
might
you want
mean
to, fine. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to control you. You can't control
For
other
sure.
people. You have permission to do that, but not with me.
not with me. And that's not you being mean. That is you being kind to yourself and loving yourself. And that way, when you love yourself, then you're free to actually love others in a full capacity, in a higher level.
Yeah, and not get to the place where then you build up walls. Because the difference between, I believe, the walls and the boundaries is walls are put up for the purpose of disconnection and from a place of pain.
An offense.
Yeah, an offense. And I believe boundaries are set up ahead of time based on your self-esteem and your core values and beliefs. And therefore, limits feel safe.
Yeah.
Walls keep people out and they come from a place of pain.
And they fully disconnect. When you put walls up, there's a full disconnection because you can't move past the pain. You can't be a true friend. You can't keep anybody accountable. You can't set a healthy boundary and try to operate in it because there's a full wall up which keeps you separated, which isn't kingdom, which isn't kind, which isn't the gospel. It isn't grace. It isn't anything that has to do with love. Pushing somebody out while you're putting up a wall. That's, we did that in the 5th grade. It's immature. But boundaries have maturity attached to them.
Yeah.
Where you have conversations and you say, hey, if you treat me like this again, then we're not going to do this for a little while. Or whatever it might be. And again, that's at your work, family, house, home. Not necessarily as much with your boss, but a little bit. There's people pleasers that are yes men and yes women that want your okay so much that, you might make $12 an hour, $15 an hour, and your boss just keeps giving you more and more and more stuff to where now you're doing 2 people's jobs for the same pay. And it's okay for you to set a boundary of, my workload is good right here. If you'd like to give me a raise or give me a title with a raise, I would be more than happy to do all this. But, I'm on salary here and it's supposed to be 40 hours and now I'm doing like 55. So can we make some maneuvers here? I'm going to have to set a boundary and honor myself enough that I'm on a 40-hour-a-week salary. So I need to be compensated for the other 15 hours a week. Or I'm going to have to say no. I can't do anymore, right? Those are healthy boundaries because you love yourself, not because you're trying to be mean or, push your boss
if it's
back.
a problem for you. Again, it's different for everybody.
For sure.
But don't keep blaming everybody else for disrespecting you or taking advantage of you if you are
Keep
not
saying yes.
setting the boundaries and following through. We have to take responsibility for our part.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
We are choosing to participate in the relationship, in the drama,
Yes.
in the scenario, whatever it looks like. So,
Yes. And we are allowing other people to treat us the way they do. We are allowing that for the sake of not hurting their feelings.
not
or,
wanting to be alone.
Yeah.
Afraid of the rejection,
Rejection.
not being accepted.
Yeah.
Because we have low self-esteem and low value, and
It happens.
yeah.
And we're all weeks are better than the next week, so it's always up and down. So we just wanted to give you permission tonight to use the word no, to set a healthy boundary.
Don't let people bully your boundaries.
Don't let people bully your boundaries and say those are dumb or silly or that's not right. Just get some time by yourself, get some peace, think about situations, set some boundaries, and then honor the boundaries that you set. Stand in your value, that you
'cause
matter.
You're worth it.
That you
You're
are worth
valuable.
You're an amazing person. You are a masterpiece. You are part of the master. All of these things is your identity. You're an amazing person. So don't let people bully you or bully your boundaries. Don't let people take advantage of you in the sake of kindness, for the sake of kindness or you not being rejected. We wanted to release you to this and empower you to set healthy boundaries, because when you set healthy boundaries, the valuable gem on the inside is protected,
Yes.
which is you loving yourself, and then there's more of you and a higher capacity for everybody else.
That's right. That's good.
Good. This is us.
This is us. We
We
love
love
you guys.
you.
Thanks
You're
for
amazing.
tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday.